What if you had instant analytics on your PDP images and a faster way to create content that performs better? That's what we're diving into in today's episode, how top brands and retailers are using analytics and automation to stay ahead across retail media and the digital shelf. It's Rapid helps teams scale smarter. They analyze image performance, they help you create optimized assets for retail media networks and the digital shelf, and they integrate directly with PIM and DAM systems for seamless execution. Brands like Pepsi, Mondelez, and Instacart use its Rapid to go beyond basic tools to uncover gaps in PDP and retail media performance by analyzing the images themselves, not just the count. Streamline banner creation across hundreds of formats for Amazon Ads, Walmart Connect, and other retail and social platforms, and launch high-performing content more than 80% faster across e-commerce and marketing channels. If you're buried in manual work or struggling to keep up, this episode and It's Rapid will show you a better way. Visit itsrapid.ai to learn more.
Welcome to Beyond the Shelf with Dave Feinlieb. This show is an open exploration of the people and process behind e-commerce. Through conversations with innovators in the space, we learn the stories of these leaders and their strategies for e-commerce success. We publish new episodes every Tuesday morning, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Dave Feinlieb.
Welcome back to Beyond the Shelf, the go-to podcast for insights from top minds in retail media, the digital shelf, and AI. Today, we're joined by Meghan Corroon, co-founder and CEO of Clerdata, a platform purpose-built to help enterprise CPG and consumer electronics companies accurately measure the incremental ROI of their retail media, marketing, and trade investments. In a world where billions are spent across digital and in-store tactics, but only a fraction drive true sales lift, Clerdata brings clarity. Meghan and her team have developed a software solution that helps brands cut through the noise, understand which spend actually moves the needle, and reallocate dollars accordingly across both digital and physical channels. In this episode, we'll dig into the challenges of measuring media in complex retail environments, what efficiency really means at the enterprise level, and how Clerdata is helping brands optimize for impact, not just impressions. Meghan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, David. This is so wonderful to be here. I'm excited.
Take us back. How'd you get your start in the space?
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, I come from outside of CPG and outside of digital commerce world. So very much outsider perspective. I was at the university setting at UNC Chapel Hill. I live here in North Carolina. Basically, got tired of sitting in the dusty, dreary basement offices in the ivory tower and had epiphany that I think we could probably take some of these really geeky, nerdy skills and perhaps do something out in the world in this space. And so traveled a lot previously, basically ran incremental ROI measurement for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation with a large multi-country team. And so had a lot of crazy data challenges thrown at us. And so we decided to try to take all that kind of learning and understanding and put it into this software that we're working with now, Clerdata.
That is incredible. I've got to ask you, how does that work? Do Bill and Melinda walk in and take a look at the data with you? Do you just give them the results, or when you've got all those resources and the data that you're looking at, what's it like?
It is I'm going to be totally candid. I'm sort of always totally candid, but it is very intimidating. So we worked with their teams. They have large teams of staff, and we did present to Melinda occasionally because she led a lot of the reproductive health work, how to invest in different countries to drive those outcomes. But you better be ready. It's like all night prep session if you're going to go and funnel talking points to them, because they are super smart and really not not sort of wasting time, right? They call themselves impatient optimists for a reason, and an emphasis on impatient if you don't have your facts straight. So we were pretty used to those kind of rooms.
So you better bring your A game.
Yeah, exactly. No B games allowed. Nope.
Right. Well, what a great experience. And tell us about Clerdata. What are you working on?
Yeah, so, this pressing question in the industry, it's very buzzy right now, but if you spend $1 on an ad, a retail media ad, a digital marketing ad, or you're discounting your product, what did it do? Right? It's like the super fundamental question of what was the cause and effect to drive growth for a company. And we're solving for that pain point with a software solution.
That's great. And are you bootstrapped? Did you raise some money or what's the history on the company?
I would consider us bootstrapped. We have a little bit of support, but very, very minor. No VC funding on board. So we really control we have all the glory and the pain of what that gives you basically as a
Yeah.
founder, right? You get a lot of control, but you got to eat ramen for a couple years. It's
Yeah.
not glamorous, I would say.
Right, right. No, I hear you. Now, selling into enterprise is not easy. How do you meet your customers?
We are very, very driven by word of mouth referrals, essentially. We don't, hence the bootstrapping, we don't spend hardly anything on marketing at this juncture. And so it's really about long term relationships and making customers very happy and really go and willing and excited to talk about what we're doing to their buddies in the next room. I think with enterprise, they're inundated with advertising, and so I think you just have to have the relationships and earn them, throughout that time. Yeah.
100%. At It's Rapid, people often ask me, "How did you get PepsiCo as your first customer?" And I say, "We didn't. You've got to earn it.
Yeah.
They call you, and hopefully, if you do something useful and help move the needle, you get to stick around." So, yeah, I 100% hear you on that. So, let's suppose I'm at a large company. I've got my ad budget and I'm ready to invest, but I want to know what's happening with the dollars. How's that work? What do you do in our first meeting?
Yeah, I mean, we really talk about, I'd say the pain point doesn't really require much conversation, as soon as, everyone is struggling with like, where should I put incremental funds? Where should I drive efficiencies and cut back on funds and investment? And then meanwhile, they're getting pressed pretty heavily by all the whatever number, 700 retail media networks or even the top 5, right, that are asking for more and more investment. And so there's a lot of pressure on you in this role and those folks. So that's really where we start with the conversation.
Now, how would you approach that conversation differently? Just curious if I'm running retail media or I'm the CMO. What's kind of the different point of view there?
So, okay, I have to say I'm not a marketing person, so anything I say about this is really just from like an outsider data science perspective, but the idea of upper funnel tactics, right, versus lower funnel, with CMOs who are for iconic brands and running ad budget for, like your PepsiCo or WD-40, any of these brands, Panasonic, there is some incremental effect for sure, right, in upper funnel tactics. And so you're really talking about everyone right now is scrambling to figure out where retail media fits. I wish that it was super clear and consistent across companies. It's not yet. And so, what portion is appropriate for national media spend, upper funnel, what portion is appropriate for lower funnel or retail media, and then where's it all getting muddled and how can we disentangle and simply grow the company and steward the resources effectively.
You mentioned incrementality. It's become kind of a hot topic recently. First off, what is it? What does it mean?
I love this question so much. I hate buzzwords. It drives me insane. So, incrementality, right, is basically the sales that you think about if you're a CPG company that is net new sales, so new to brand in a moment, or what I call the swing voters, right? So the people who, like me, mom of two, I've got to just pick a toothpaste and I'm standing at the shelf. I may have bought you in the past, doesn't mean you're going to have my dollar today. And so you have to win the moment essentially each time. So it's that dollar, not base sales. So it's holding it aside and saying, "Hey, how do you create that moment, successfully deploy funds to get it, to win in that moment?"
Got it. Okay. So, in my role here as a large CPG CMO, I'm meeting with you. We're talking about incrementality, and we want to kind of make use of Clerdata. Where would we start?
If you're the CMO and in your world, you run all the retail media and the upper funnel budgets. I love it. Yes, thank
Right.
you.
Yeah.
David is
It's your dream meeting.
it's my dream meeting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we do is say, hey, let's prioritize, first of all, the risk for the business. So you want to understand drive incrementality where? Is it in which brand? Is it with Walmart? Is it with Amazon? What are the set of sort of revenue priorities? And then set those up in a custom fashion and then take the top 20, 25 tactics that you're investing in. And let's start there. That's basically onboarding. And then you can add from there and add more data in.
All right, so we're on board. We've signed up, and what are you going to be working with? Where does the data come from, and how do you process it to kind of provide these insights?
Yeah, so we ingest all the data from the customer. So we ingest all the sales data. It's actuals. This isn't sort of like in theory, in the marketplace. It is not based on other people's data. This is real time performance for that group. So sales data, retail media, marketing data, we ingest upwards of 50 feeds, I think, for some of our larger customers. David, if do you have a data lake set up in this fictional role? Because I would love that if you do.
100%.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we can pull it all out of the data lake. That makes my
Perfect.
even
Yeah.
easier. Some folks don't
Yeah.
have that completed. Some have it sort of on this long-term roadmap that they're working on. And so we'll work with whatever.
And data lake, just to be clear, is not somewhere where I'm going to go fishing on the weekend, or I might do fishing, but it'd be fishing for data. It's a place to put all these different data assets that I've got and kind of make them available to partners like yourself.
Yeah. So like a Snowflake or Conductor, you can build your own. There's a lot of platforms people use. Yeah.
So you're ingesting this data, and then how does it work from there?
So there it runs through into our platform to a causal model. So a cause and effect, the most outside of a laboratory experiment, which we can't do, sadly, with you. We can't lock you and all your friends in a little box and serve you ads. Outside of that, a causal model, econometric modeling is the sort of gold tier outside of a laboratory experiment. So that's what the algorithm is based on. And then all the insights flow through to a customer portal where they can see with actually very simplistic visuals. Because I found in my career before this that nobody wants a dashboard with 100 graphs. Like it is really hard to action on that. And I learned that the hard way in a lot of complex data settings with different stakeholders and other governments and countries. And so I like simplicity.
This episode of Beyond the Shelf is brought to you by It's Rapid. It's Rapid is the platform Pepsi, Mondelez, Instacart, and hundreds of other leading brands and retailers use to build personalized content at scale. Whether that's images, videos, or product descriptions for their product detail pages, shoppable videos or banners for their digital ad campaigns, or sell sheets for sales enablement, brands that use It's Rapid are able to produce high-quality, on-brand content on average more than 80% faster than category competitors. To find out more, please visit itsrapid.ai.
You are so right. I remember a meeting where I went in and we had this great data. This was at our last company, Content Analytics, and they really loved the data. And the VP took me aside and he says, "Listen, we love this data. You've got to net it out to a couple of key messages that we can action on." because that's how people really get value from it. And I thought that was such a great lesson at the time. It sounds like you've applied that as well.
Yeah, it was harder and similar to you, where I had a lot of
Yeah.
feedback in a lot of difficult rooms with like the government of Nigeria or like all sorts of stakeholders where they're like, give me one slide with 3 bullet points. I'll take that to the minister. And I was like, oh my God, because I'm running teams of data science. I mean, these are super complex studies and things we're doing. And they're like, give me 3 bullet points. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Okay, let's,
Right. We have
yeah.
all this information. How do I net it out? It's so
Yeah.
hard to do.
Yeah.
Um, but so that's so great. So just to kind of close the loop here, so we've done our analysis. It's maybe ongoing. We've got the dashboard, and then in my temporary CMO role here, I'm soon going to be going back to being just a podcaster. What would I do now? Do I take that to my team, or how do I action on it?
Yeah, so you can check the dashboard, the tool anytime you want. This is a fully refreshed modeling that is happening monthly or quarterly, depending on the team. Really, I love this is where I love data science. It's not to be wonky or nerdy. I love math too, but it's the moment where you bring your team into that call and sit around the fire, if you will, like the data fire, and look at those one or two key findings and then challenge one another. And so those are basically the conversations, right? They're bringing in their shopper marketing folks, they're bringing in their media agencies very often come in, and then we have a conversation of why is this underperforming? Why is this knocking it out of the park? Let's check our assumptions like scientists, as opposed to territorial sort of budget holders, and let's transform our mindset. And that's the thing that makes me do this every day is I love those moments.
Yeah, it's so great. And what I love about this is not only that you're delivering value on the data, but also it sounds like it serves as a way to bring these different teams together to have the conversation. So I can imagine how powerful that would be for enterprises. So you must also see some themes across all these different customers you work with. What are brands spending correctly on, let's say, and what are they overspending on?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm not gonna give you the answer of it depends, which is the total data scientist answer. I know that you want a little more than that. So what I see is I see that people are underinvesting sometimes in organic social media or earned and owned social media. They've sort of been oh, we've got to do this just to keep up the presence. And the bigger the company, the more power that has as a reminder to purchase. And so that's been underlooked, I think, underinvested in. Paid media, I will say, like Google and Meta tend to be always over indexed in people's portfolios. Not every customer, but I'd say that's a trend I see. Things within the Amazon world, especially for your audience here in digital commerce, there are the tried and true things Amazon has been selling forever, and those are generally over indexed. You probably can imagine what they are. And then there's newer things like we see a lot of promise in STV or OLV investment, anything in video that doesn't always translate to TikTok. People will experiment and think like, oh, if OLV is great or this video content is great, maybe we can launch on TikTok. And we've seen a lot of variable results. Like some people getting great returns and some folks just are like, it's not doing anything. Those are some big trends. Yeah.
Tell us a little about retail media and kind of trade strategy. What's kind of holding companies back from making the shift?
Power dynamics? No, I mean, I think it's you've got this extensive historic relationship, right? That had one power dynamic with CPG companies and retailers, and now it is flipped. And I sat with folks at Walmart, for instance, and a bunch of CPG brands just a couple weeks ago. And it was really the Walmart Connect folks were really like, hey, we're here. You're our customers. We're here to serve you. And yet it's this we were in Bentonville area, and you see this total flip of the dynamic, right, compared to the traditional, "Hey, I've gotta subsidize end caps or whatever I've gotta do for trade levers." And so it's really trying to think more strategically about the, like, win-win components and also have some really sometimes hard, candid conversations, that there isn't an endless pot of funds for every retailer to monetize their data and their ads through. But when they can prove that it makes sense for everybody to win and use measurement, then I think that is, I see CPG brands doubling down all the time. But they do need to understand in a neutral fashion, I think, what works. I think that's normal human need.
Great insight. And, if you're a brand, what's the best way to either dip your toe in the water or do some testing, start to do some optimization?
Yeah, you can always work with us on a, proof of concept or a limited pilot and just begin to understand, hey, because I like to emphasize, is your team ready sort of for the cultural approach to more real-time incrementality? That's new in this industry. And so there is a change management component, and when teams are thirsty for it and ready, it like takes they're testing and learning like every quarter, every month, they're changing investment. But if they're not quite ready for that, that's okay too. I think it's best to just kind of be self-aware about where you're at and if you want to dip a toe or a foot or, go go all in and make
Right.
money and just be
Yeah.
like treat it like the stock market because that's how we kind of think about the investment set.
All right. Tell us about AI. Are you using AI for this? What role does it play in all this data that you're looking at and some of the decisions these brands are making?
Yes, I love this because we talked about this before, and I thought it was such an interesting part of our conversation. So we use AI in our company processes, as I think every company basically does now to speed things up. There is no AI in the modeling approach. So what there is some AI in terms of data ingestion improvements, things like that. But at the end of the day, a causal econometric model, math is math. And right now, AI is actually not at a place where we feel confident about its advanced statistical capabilities. We're waiting for that. I said this to you before, but I think spatial computing changes we have coming down the line. I'm actually much more amped about that because as soon as that comes on, I'm like run times and then we're just banging stuff out at like the speed of light, right? So we talk a lot more about that right now. These are large language models are good for a lot of things, but it's important to know what they're actually not ready for at the moment.
And will you just kind of parse that out for us, an LLM or large language model, as opposed to this econometric model, in sort of layperson's terms? What is the fundamental difference there?
Ooh, well, I'm not an AI specialist, but okay. So think about it like data can come to you in lots of forms. Language models are based on string variable or bits of language or image. It's more advanced than that now, scraping the internet. It's great for things like genomic sequencing, things that are truly massive and like we don't know at all, right? Certain questions. I think that's great. ML is good for that. For this, it's a very precise. It's almost the opposite. We're not hunting in the ocean, right? We have a very specific set of things that we hypothesize, like ad spend, to drive sales. And so you actually don't need to hunt through an ocean of language data. You can just use a very specific algorithm. It's already set. You shouldn't monkey with it that much because that's bespoke modeling. That's something else. So it's not yet there.
I can see why the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation trusted you with their data because you have a great ability to take something complex and really distill it down. So,
Thank
yeah,
you.
that's a great insight. I learned a lot from your explanation. Well, let's look ahead. Where are things headed in measurement and especially retail media and optimization?
I am excited. I feel like the retail media networks, originally, I think most of them are now opening up to external neutral groups like ours, right? And software that like ours, they have their own measurement, and that's great. They're really all investing in reporting. But I think the idea that everyone needs to understand, like a stock portfolio, across all my retail media investments, right? Across all of these things, where do I double down? Where do I add more money? Where do I pull back? How do I optimize? I think the whole industry is moving and I cannot wait, please, when ROAS can just really be put in its place, which is not in its current place, but like somewhere else outside of those investment decisions. I'll be happy when incremental ROI becomes the more pervasive indicator. I think it's better for business decisions.
All right. Incrementality, how to work with gobs of data and get value from it. And this has been great. We've got a section called the Rapid Rundown here. Just a few fast-paced questions for you. First off, what's one term in marketing analytics you think is misunderstood or overused?
I love this. Directional. This is something I never heard of in statistics. It's purely like a business idea. I think directional, like how far away from truth is directional? So that's my pet peeve
Yeah.
around that.
A recent CPG campaign, any brand that impressed you with its execution.
The WD-40 team, I'm going to name drop them, and they presented on this with me. They did a great execution on Reddit, which was a very surprising high incrementality channel for them for a period of time when they were doing some cool campaign stuff.
Awesome. I'll have to check that out. One tech tool your team can't live without.
Fathom, there you go, AI. It's an AI-driven note taker, and my gosh, it helps me because I forget things so easily, so it helps write everything down for me.
One piece of advice you'd give to brand teams trying to be more data-driven.
I guess don't be afraid to test and learn and be open to things not working and having your hypotheses challenged, thinking more like a scientist.
Great insight. Favorite way to unwind after digging through dashboards and data?
I also, on the nerd vibe, I read a lot of sci-fi, I have to say, and I like hiking a lot with my family.
What's the best way for our listeners to reach you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. Feel free to DM me, message me. I'm on there, Meghan Corroon, Clerdata, easy to find.
All right. Meghan Corroon with Clerdata. I learned a lot. So great talking about data with you, talking about how to make that data approachable and valuable for customers. And I hope you'll come back and join us here on Beyond the Shelf.
Anytime. Thank you so much for having me, David.
That's it for this week's episode of Beyond the Shelf. If you enjoy the show, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. It really helps us grow. And feel free to share us with your colleagues so they too can hear weekly perspectives from the brightest minds in e-commerce. You can also check us out on LinkedIn, where we post clips from each episode, share Dave's takes on breaking industry news, and much more. Beyond the Shelf is a production of It's Rapid. Our host is Dave Feinlieb, and our producers are Sean Levy-Ashvili and Jake Musiker. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Beyond the Shelf.